out there in the realms of the living. Welcome to Thrones of Game, the Game of Thrones podcast where we watch the series backwards. Hello, I'm your host, BT Calloway. I've watched the whole show from beginning to end, and joining me is Elliot Jay O'Neill. He has watched the show from end to now. Elliot, how you doing, buddy?
That's funny, because my dad, his nickname for me when I was a lot younger was Jelly Webs.
Your dad's a brilliant dude.
Yeah. It just conjures a weird image, you know?
Like webbed but jelly toes.
Okay. I was like spider's web, but just made out of
like delicious.
Yeah.
When you're in the candy kingdom.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful. We don't have time for that.
No.
We just watched an episode of Game of Thrones. This was Season 7, Episode 4, The Spoils of War. Elliot, what happened?
Well, first off... and then all of a sudden... suffering and death.
Yep, just so everyone is up to date with us, this is the one where Daenerys raised down some fiery napalm death on the Lannisters, and it is epic.
Yeah. A real showcase, a tease of what's to come in the bells.
Mm-hmm. And, man, I don't know if we can talk about that bit now or we get to it. Should we build to the good? We should build to the good, surely. But, you know, before we get...
so little to say about the not good.
Let's just get through it then, because I know, but you want to keep the energy for the end. All right, so we start off, and it's just Janitor Lannister hauling some gold and talking about gold. We had no cock talk for this episode. We had a lot of gold talk.
There's no cock talk. There's no nudity. Yep. There was just absolutely nothing until there was something.
Until there was all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of my notes are kind of just things that happened just to keep track of things. But, yeah, so Janitor Lannister is there, dick on... Tarly and his dad, we get to see them before they become Krispy Kremes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of milords. So previously we had a bunch of miladies.
Yeah.
Now we've got a bunch of milords.
Yeah, and a few McGraces.
Yep, so it's all something.
Yes. Something that stands out to me from this opening section is what a whingy cunt Bran is. My fuck.
Man just wants to get paid. Come on.
Does he?
Yeah. That's
is that his motivation?
Yeah.
Oh. No, Bran.
Oh, Bran. All Bran. Oh, okay, my apologies. I thought you meant Braun. You know, how could I make that distinction?
Oh, David Cross. Oh, well, when we talk about the something, I've got a lot to say about him.
Okay, because yeah, all Bran is. I wrote down he's just all burn because the little wildling girl, I can't remember her name, comes back in and is like, "Okay, you're leaving, aren't you?" Yes. Bye. That's all you've got to say. My brother lost his life. You know, I nearly died. Everything, so many things. Oh, bye. Thanks.
Ta-ta.
And bye. Do well, but I think it's good for just how distant Bran is. And I wish that was we got a little bit more of that, because it makes a big question of, so he's in charge at the end. How fucked are they? Is it all fucked or no fucked? I'm very interested.
Well, I guess, you know, being that he is such a distant guy, he can make rational decisions without, you know, stupid emotions getting in the way.
It's true. He has no allegiances and no emotions, and he's just all Bran.
He is essentially the Vulcan of the Game of Thrones universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, maybe he will be the wisest, I think.
Bran Spock.
What we need is a, Lovecraftian nightmare to rule over us and keep us from ourselves. Yep. So, he does a cool line of "chaos is a ladder," and it's like, that's neat, but I don't know what that means. Like everything you say, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the three-eyed raven. What is that? I'm not Brandon Stark anymore. What just makes sense?
Yeah, but when he's fronting Arya though, and he's like, "You came home," it's like, oh wow, did you need the Raven to see that fucking one, Bran? Jesus.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. He knows all these bits and pieces about it. There's some subtlety in the writing I really like when Arya and Sansa are in the crypt and she's all like, I think we've established now, anytime we do Arya, she has to be talking in Salad Fingers voice.
Yes.
Because she's all like, my Queen Cersei was on my list of people I'm going to kill. And then Sansa just like laughs it off and Arya laughs it off. She's like, oh, well, she doesn't need to know that. And then Bran's just like, oh, yes, she was on your list of people you're going to murder. And there's a great moment of Sansa going, oh, shit, that's real? Oh, It's a good moment of, this is not the person I knew when we left home.
Yeah. But
I like that.
It's got some bad implications for Bran as well, because he's clearly used the Ravens to spy on the girls in the change room.
Well, I mean, a human would, but the three-eyed Raven, maybe he didn't feel that. I don't know.
He's not human?
I mean, like I said, we don't really know. He's a human man suit, at least. We're not really sure what the three-eyed raven is, and he definitely doesn't make... He definitely says he isn't Brandon Stark anymore, so he has memories of being Brandon Stark. Yes. But I remember so much more now. I guess in brief, he is just like all of collected memory shoved into one dude. Or a conduit through one dude. Again, it's never really clear. But again, it's not supposed to be, so meh. But yeah, I do kind of like... this one, for some reason, just had me constantly thinking of Monty Python quotes. Because Arya comes home, those two guards like, fuck off. And then like, right, you stand there, we'll go talk. And then they kind of bicker amongst themselves who's going to go talk to Sansa. And they kind of turn around. And what I wanted them to say was, she's buggered off. Sure she has. But no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those two guards as well. It was nice to see us playing a cameo in this episode.
Again, I really want to do like a web series of just from a guard's perspective, but not like being like, oh, we conquered. Okay, fine. What's going on? Who? Did what us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know this fucking bloodline. Fuck off.
Yeah, how can anyone keep track in a world with like no internet?
Yeah.
Just from what the town crier tells you. It's like, it would change so constantly. It's like, I just couldn't be fucked.
Yeah. Every day is a soap opera and it's hell.
Yeah. Also down in the crypt, there's a bit that could have gone very different when, they're looking at the statue of Eddard Stark and it's like, doesn't look like him. They should have gotten someone who knew his face to sculpt it. It's like, well, everyone who knew his face is dead. We're not. And I wanted... sculpting montage.
Yes, I had in my notes. Look, makeover! Exclamation points.
Yeah, and they're like throwing bits of clay at each other as they learn how to do it. Arya turns hers around, it's a little bit better, and Sansa turns hers around, and it's just a butt, and they both laugh. Yeah, come on, a bit of levity in our high school drama that we're creating in amongst Game of Thrones.
Yes, in our side invented show within this show, Mean of Girls.
Mean of Girls, yeah. Because we get a little bit of high school drama as well when Daenerys is walking around with Missandei, and she's all like, so, the Unsullied are away at war, and, Missandei's all like, oh, I hope they come back soon. And Daenerys like, so, what happened? And she's like, many things. Whoa, girl. Many things. Did you get it, girl?
I got laid.
You have to remember, he's a eunuch.
Do eunuchs eat ass?
Does not. Well, probably. He'd have to. He doesn't have a dick. Although how much he does have has been a question before, but we'll come back to that as we travel through time.
Is a unique eunuch?
Eunuch in New York. No,
yep.
We'll work on that later. But yeah, it's a kind of a sweet reunion because, well, it's an interesting play out when Sansa and Arya bump into each other finally after. And again, from a beginning to end perspective, this is kind of a big moment because they've been separated for a long time and they kind of just missed each other a couple of times. And after a lot of trauma they've both been through, you're like, just let them hug and have a nice sisterly moment.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where, Sansa hugs Arya, but Arya's like, eh. But then at the end, she does hug her back. And it's like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. It's sort of weird, though, because in all the episodes I've seen, in reverse order, they're really at odds.
Yeah, well, I think that's something this season I think did very well, and unfortunately didn't spend as long with it as I would have liked, is this whole kind of standoff nature, because they have become such different people and have such different views on how things should be done and on loyalty and on all of it, and it only kind of lasts 3 episodes, which is unfortunate because could have been a very intense kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, and yeah, we got lots of little fingering about.
Oh my god, if Arya sounds like salad fingers, he fucking looks like salad fingers.
Brutal but true. And he's got that whole bit in the beginning where he gives the dagger to Bran, and he's just pretty much, he's trying to be stepfather. You can tell. He's like, so and again, I came to Monty Python where it's like, I'd like you to think of me as your old dad in a very real and legally binding sense. All Holy Grail all the time.
So, was he the one who got him the wheelchair?
I don't think so. I think that's one of the maesters, but I'm not sure.
Oh, we got a bit of hint at wheelchair origins in this exciting opening part of the episode.
Yeah, get used to it. It only gets slower.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, man, what a fucking boring first half.
You gotta read between the lines, man. Like when Sansa's just like, also, Bran's home, and Arya's like, and then she just gives her this steely look, and it's like, I do have to warn you, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah. He's gotten really emo.
Yeah.
He's listening to The Cure.
Just like on repeat. It's just disintegration all day. I mean, just change albums at least, but no. We're throwing some Love Cats. I don't know.
No, only B-sides.
He's one of those fans. It's the stuff they didn't release. It's the most pure. All right. Man, let's just get to a question. We had no nudity, as we've discussed. Just going to cross out nudity very upsetly.
Mm-hmm.
What was your MVP, though? I had a thing for this. Most valuable bit. I can't remember what P was. Cross out cock talk as well. No. Point? I can't remember.
Person of most value. I don't know. Well, besides the most exciting scene at the end, which I'll save for the V question, I think the best scene was Tilda Swanson and Arya doing a little, what's the word? Sparring.
Yeah. I'm going to say that was my pick as well, other than the obvious. Because, it's just really well done, really well shot. You get the great reactions from Brienne being like, oh, shit, you can actually, you know what you're doing. But, there's a bit of humility there because she does win a couple of the bouts. So, yeah, it's a good balance. And I think, again, it just really illustrates, because Sansa's watching this and illustrates, how much these people have changed.
And little fingering.
Yeah, Littlefinger just standing there going, oh, I can use that.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was meant to ask. So the dagger that he gives Bran, that then Bran gives Arya.
Yep.
Is that the one that she fucking slices his neck with?
That's the one.
Hey.
And it's also the one she shanks the Night's King with. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. You can actually find Valerian steel. Yeah, you can actually see some pretty cool training montage of Macy Williams and whoever plays Brienne doing just learning that routine. It's very cool. It looks really good, and it's cute as well because they kind of have a laugh at the end of it. So yeah, it's nice to know everyone on set is friends. It makes you feel warm in the insides.
Well, yeah, they clearly have a chemistry, and they clearly fucking did the work because it was a really good-looking fight scene as well, and they really played with the physicality of the two actors. Obviously, Maisie being small and having smaller weapons versus, Tilda who fucking towers over and
totally.
Got a claymore or some shit.
It's huge.
It was an interesting battle as well. Yeah, rapier versus a claymore, and even Maisie's got a bit of like in Kill Bill Pai Mei physicality about her.
Yeah, the sword behind the back kind of thing, and that kind of deceptive. You don't know which way I'm going to go because I'm not giving myself away with stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whoever's the fight choreographer, beautiful work.
And good on Maisie for doing her work as well, because even in just dodging, when she confronted those guards that looked exactly like us, she gave away her power just with a defensive move.
Yeah, just by a dodge.
Which is interesting because normally, in an intimidate check, you'd do something threatening. You'd put the knife up to the throat or something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. I'm getting out of the way.
Yeah, intimidation via dodge. It's very good, and that's enough to get her in the door. And has the whole, I'm going to get him one way or the other, and if I am who I say I am, you're in so much shit.
Yeah,
yes.
But she really does need better guards. I'm glad she replaced us. Mm-hmm. We were terrible guards.
Oh yeah, totally. We would just talk all the time about Star Wars and things. Yep.
Star of Wars.
Have a bit of a meme moment with Daenerys being all bend the knee. So there were some fun memes going around this. My two favorites were when you're trying to get your toddler into a one piece and they won't go. It just has her saying bend the knee. And the other one, it had a picture of who plays Jon Snow, John Bum Chovy again, Kip Harington on the cover of GQ or something, and he's doing a seductive pose with a bent knee, and then it just cuts to a reaction shot of her with there it is, the bent knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some fun memes came out of that.
Bend the knee. God, she's so obsessed with people bending the knee.
I know, it's all she thinks about him. Oh, yeah, and there's a pretty neat bit where Dan Brady is all like, nope, we're going to nuke the Red Keep now, and John has to talk it down. And I think, again, the pieces of the finale that everyone hated were there. It was just so rushed in the 8th season that it was just, it would just clubbed you over the head with it instead of building to it. Mm. But the pieces were there, man. Damn it.
But yeah, sometimes I wonder, because this episode was crawling to its finish, and I guess if I was a little bit more invested in the dialogue, then maybe it would have had more of an impact. But all these scenes just kind of washed over me. Even that cave scene between Snow and Dan Brady, I I just kept getting distracted by their fucking terrible accents and him just showing the pictures on, the before time equivalent of a fridge. And
Yeah, I wanted him to be like, I drew this.
a teacher. It's so nice.
You show the dragons. They're going to be so impressed. But there is that spiral logo there, which the White Walkers use as their symbol. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh.
Bit of lore we never get fully explained, but I think there's enough there to figure it out.
That the White Walkers were there ever since the before time.
Oh, I believe it was actually the Children of the Forest symbol that was adapted by the White Walkers because the Children of the Forest made the White Walkers. Yeah, it's a bit of background for people who are watching this in the wrong direction. And then in that, we get a quick little bit of back and forth between John and Sir Davos. There's a quick bit I'm going to mention where John says, how many men have we got in the north? 10,000? I mean, possibly even less. And he's like, fewer. Little grammar correction, which will make sense later.
Well,
or earlier. It'll make sense earlier.
Wasn't the only one. Yeah, John. He said, Queen is gone. And no, the Queen is gone, John.
Oh, freaking moron.
Yeah, sorry. In that same scene as well, I thought it was good to see, what's her name, Sunday of Narth?
Miss Andre.
Oh, right.
But Sunday of Narth is pretty fun.
I was like, yeah, I could go on Narth Sunday right now. I don't know what that is. Yeah, her accent work was also, like, it was a shame because it was nice to see her again, but her accent work was bad. And I think she might have just been off her game that day or something because there were a lot of shots where it was like her talking, but the shot was of John. So it's like, yeah, they totally ADR'd some shit here.
Maybe he's had a dodgy craft services day and just wasn't up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, man.
Yeah. Just burping her way through it.
My name is Miss Andre. Excuse me, some clam
I
chowder.
serve my queen because I want to.
Yep. I mean, it happens. It's life. It's big production.
Yep, the bodies don't care if you're acting.
All right, and my last note before the big note is, so there's a bit where Bron's talking to Dickon, and Bron laughs at his name. Thank God, because for a while I'm like, are we hearing that wrong? Is it actually like Rickon, but they're just getting a little too much D in there somehow, or I don't know, something. Yeah, that validated our childish behavior, so I appreciate that. And then I can't remember what he said, but he's like, they don't teach you that in fancy lad school. Like, fancy lad school.
Well, he obviously went to fancy lad school and he's got the fucking best haircut out of anybody in the army.
Like, he's invented product.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even Jamie, like, he's got like a neat haircut, but it's clearly done via a bowl. But yeah, this dude had someone layering and using gel and mousse.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. It really stands out.
Yeah, where's the stylist of Game of Thrones?
No, okay. He must obviously have access to whoever does Dan Brady's hair. Yeah. Because, these are the only two people with some real stylish digs.
It must have been hard for him when they were warring. It's just like, now, you're both my clients and I'm not getting involved in this.
But only one of us can have the nicest hair. Yeah, wars have been started over less, man. I think my last note before the other one is there's a bit where Cersei's talking to the guy from the Iron Bank, who's also the guy from like a lot of Britishy things. So, yeah, he also plays Mycroft Holmes and some other Britishy things. I think he's in Doctor Who as well. He gets around.
Oh, that is so British.
Yep, so British. But yeah, it was like they're just talking about compound interest and shit. And it's like, fantasy world or not, math is math.
Yep. What was my note? Oh, who's Creepy McFuckface?
It's a good name for him. I don't know his name, so yeah, Creepy McFuckface. He's just from the Iron Bank, because everything is iron for some bloody reason. It does sound good, to be fair. The Iron Isles, and the Iron Throne, and the Iron Bank, and the blah, 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 blah.
Iron Man.
Yep.
Oh, played by who's Tony Stark. Interesting.
It all connects. But yeah, death and taxes. Even in this world, death and taxes.
Jesus.
All right. Question 4.
Just a couple more notes on boring section.
All right.
The guard that looked like me at one point said, "She's gone, milady," and now in my head, I want to do a Game of Thrones remix. She's gone, milady. Gone, milady.
She's Arya Stark. Sugar. Something.
Sugar, my lady. Podrick should start a podcast and call it Podrickcast.
Oh, guy who plays Podrick, if you want to be on.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah, what else you doing?
Not Game of Thrones, that's for sure.
Nope.
And could you imagine a world without bastards?
Oh, yeah. neat little bit of lore in there. I'll just quickly explain. Yeah, World Without Bastards is a pretty funny bit. But yeah, so he's Jon Snow because the tradition in Westeros is if you're a bastard, your last name is the primary feature of your land. So because he was born in the north where it's always snowing, he's Jon Snow. Later on, there'll be a guy whose last name is Sand, etc., etc.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't
feel
know.
Sorry for the people that were born on like a manure rendering plan or something.
Yep. What are you? I'm John Shittown. Yeah, it's got to be a thing. What are the worst places? We've heard of a place in King's Landing called Flea's Bottom. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Find out the worst surname you could possibly have in Game of Thrones. I mean, Dickon is the worst first name.
Yeah.
Dickon Snow would be pretty funny.
Even Brickon isn't that much better.
What's your name? Dickon Sand. Yes, I know where it is, but where? Haha. Not great. It is time for the fourth question. Violence!
All the violence.
All the violence. Raining napalm death. It's beautiful.
This looked really good.
Yeah, this whole thing makes me want to yell at Season 8's battle sequences and go, this is how it's done. Look how clear everything is. Look how epic and how much those hits actually feel physical and painful. And even the build-up when there's the rumble sound of the horse's hooves coming over the hillside, and that's joined very subtly by the score, and it builds this beautiful tension. It's excellent.
So are these? Is this a Dothraki army?
These are the Dothraki with all their...
and their hook swords and shit.
Their horses and their stabbings.
Yeah. So I was thinking about the bells a lot while watching this because I think there were a lot of great action sequences and moments in that episode, but I don't know, maybe because it was like, an hour and a half of pretty much just that. It was just exhausting.
Yeah.
Where this one really demonstrated the power of and effectiveness of a really tight, small war scene.
Yeah, well, to be entirely fair to the Bells, I think that exhaustingness was the point.
Yeah.
At least I hope so. Because this was meant to be basically a skirmish, and it's meant to be a look how quickly dragons just ruin the battlefield. And I do really like the concept of this is a good example of how drastically and radically a dragon changes the battlefield, because they're all preparing in their lines with their shields up and their spears, and it just rips right through them, no question. Yeah. There's a great bit later where Jaime's sees the dragon coming and yells, "Get to cover!" And they put up their shields, and it just doesn't matter. It's so everything they've learned is useless, and I like that. They basically just show this entire army getting destroyed so quickly because this is something they have no concept of how to fight.
But they still had some very human, feet on the ground moments there. With the pained battle people. What do they call them? Army men.
Soldiers?
Yes, those things. Red shields.
Yeah.
Those guys, on fire and just fucking desperately clawing their way to the lake and filling their helmets up with water and
and pulling off their helmets, which are sticking to them because their flesh is melting. There's a really quick blink and you'll miss it terrible bit that's also great, which is one of the Dothraki horses just stomps on one of the corpses and it basically just breaks into ash. And it's, there's some great, human on the ground moments. I think my actual MVP for this episode is this great little one shot with Bronn tumbling his way through the battlefield, trying to figure out where he is and where he's going, and pulls a sword out of a corpse and manages to fight. It's all in one shot. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And gets to the scorpion crossbow thing, and it looks really great. And I think it's that the small part of a big battle.
It's an interesting choice as well because they do the camera down looking up at him, which is generally a power shot, in filmmaking, but it's tracking with him as well, which really makes you feel part of it, I found. And, because they've got the smoke and ash, they're sort of clogging up the peripheral of the frame, but down the middle is really clear. So you
naturally get drawn to the middle,
Yeah, so look at this, The Long Night. This is how you do.
This is how you do an epic battle scene.
Especially one where you are utilizing distorting things that, used to do see in war. Smoke and ash and fire and stuff.
Yeah, because there's chaos, but we can actually see what's going on and at the same time sympathize with the characters who are just in the middle of all this with no idea of what to do. So that's it's just so much better, and it just really boggles the mind how much they flubbed it in Season 8. But I mean, other things, there's actual battle strategy. Again, they form lines, they use archers, again, and it just doesn't matter, and I like that.
Oh, yeah, when Janitor lines up the archery class in a big square, it's Oh man, yeah, this is just a fucking archery class trying to fucking
Yeah, and again, it's like, that's a bad idea, dude, because you're clumping targets together. But again, that's the strategy they have.
Yeah.
That's a big reason why, things like the American War of Independence was so different, because the British would stand there in columns firing guns, and a lot of the American soldiers were taking cover.
Yeah.
That was a new concept, which is weird now, but at the time it was like, well, we're used to, archery formations and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just a new idea on the battlefield will drastically change things. And yeah, I think that's a great example of that.
Yeah, and it also leads into watching Jamie like slowly lose his confidence over this whole thing as well.
Yeah, he goes from, oh yes, I can do this, to fuck.
That's a bit challenging, isn't it?
Yeah. Although there's a good bit where, he sees, so Braun damages one of the dragons with the scorpion. It lands and Daenerys tries to pull the arrow out, and he sees his opportunity to end the war by taking her out, and he just starts charging towards her.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a great bit where Tyrion's watching him. He's like, don't, you idiot.
Yeah.
You're charging towards a dragon. You're definitely going to die. But I remember watching that the first time being like, really interesting dynamic if they did kill Daenerys.
Yeah.
Like, who does take over? Later on, they have that conversation of who's her heir to the throne, because any one arrow could kill her. And it would have been interesting to see, very unexpected, and very interesting to see what happens when that army and that force, quite literally force of nature, is left unchecked.
Yeah.
Different universe.
Yeah, but I gotta say, Brown, what's his name?
Braun. I think
Braun.
it's Braun, like, the physicality, I think. I should really look that up.
Well, I've been calling him David Cross because the first time I saw him, he had a crossbow and he was cross-examining, so he was David Cross to me. And fucking hell, he brought the biggest crossbow in this episode.
Indeed, he did.
And yeah, that scene where he takes out that one dude who's like walking in the room and then just thunk, takes him out. Yeah, that was awesome. He's my MVP for this episode.
Yeah, he's always good quality, I will say. He's always that perfect balance of a bastard, but you like him.
Yeah. And he doesn't look like he had his hair cut by a professional either. He looks like he belongs in this universe, and he did not go to fancy school.
Yeah. So the other guy's like, maybe I'm born with it. He's like, fuck off. Yeah.
Although, I will say one thing. Before this massive battle sequence, David Cross let us know that, didn't you know men shit themselves when they die? So, in the back of my mind during this whole battle sequences...
I know what you're thinking.
Anyway, I'm just saying, there's going to be a lot of poop on that battlefield. Might be ashy and burnt up by now, but still.
I thought you were going to reference the South Park bit.
Oh, right.
That's where I thought your brain went. But no, it's going to be a very ashy, poopy battlefield. But again, most battlefields will be poopy.
Yeah. They never tell you about that, when they're reciting the tales of the war.
Yeah.
How much fucking shit there was.
I mean, I'm sure the cool people do, and they're like, they tell you about the heroism, but they never tell you about the shite.
I can still smell Bobby. His pants, they were so shitty.
Yeah, I could handle the blood and the brains splattered everywhere, but no one told me about the shit.
It was so icky.
Well, I mean, that's why, when they use the term to get in the shit.
Do they?
So, like, mostly a Vietnam reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but hey, we got some basically napalm, so, yeah. Or, as I called it in this, a firefight. Wit. Oh, yeah, and just right at the end when the dragons got wounded, a little bit more Monty Python of, 'tis but a scratch.
Yes.
Looks at Braun and is like, right, I'll do you for that.
Actually, in my final note for the battle sequence is the shot of Jamie going underwater looked terrible.
Very cheesy moment, I will say. It's very typical of, what's going to happen? It's like, we know we're going to come back next episode and they'll just be getting out of the lake. Never mind how the hell they managed to move him in full armor.
And also, like, they can only hold their breath for so long, and I'm assuming, like, Daenerys and the dragon and a bunch of other fucking people are going to be near enough to them that they would have seen them. Like, it's cheesy. Like, that's really the best word for it. It should have been, he's this guy who's always about being with his troops and then just realizes how lost it is and bolts. That should be the moment. Yeah. And this is one of the revealing things with watching this thing backwards is that, like, this is clearly a show that lives for the hype for the next episode. And just seeing how, like, they badly paid it off. Like,
yeah. Well, this is one of the few really cheesy cliffhangery endings. They usually don't do that. And because it's such a dumb cliffhanger, it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm sure we'll come back next episode and he'll have drowned in the lake. That's obviously gonna come on.
And it looked bad as well. Like, it was I wrote, what a bad shot.
Oh.
I'm out.
Yep, me too. Okay, leaves us with our final question. How did we get here?
Oh, well, at the start, Jamie's just flushed with gold, and he apparently won the biggest prize. So he went on Price of Right, which is the Game of Thrones, Westeros' #1 game show.
You sure it wasn't Deal or Nay?
Yeah, so he didn't go for the mystery box, he didn't go for the car, or maybe it was the brand new cart. And it was filled with gold. So yeah, he won the big showcase prize.
Nice. And maybe that's why he's so bitter at the beginning, because he's, Braun's also bitter. It's like, you should have risked it all. It would have been fun. He's like, no, this was the sensible option. It's what you do when I had the showcase. Yeah, but you could have had two. Yeah, it all makes sense now. All right, that's definitely what happened. All right, and I hope you join us next time for Thrones of Game. We'll be going back in time once more, but until then, our watch has ended.
Recording.
Because I was thinking we need more Game of Thrones themed, like, warm-up vocal exercises. All I had time to come up with was I was standing in King's Landing when a dragon wrecked my wagon.
I like it.
Yep.
My lady, my lord, my grace, my lady.
My lady, my lord. All the my ladies, It's a song. All right, you settled in, we're ready to go.
Snarky Stark, fuck.
Ooh, that's good. Snarky Arya.
Snarky Arya Stark.
Sniped an archer, no. Archer Arya. Just speak Dothraki for a while, learn some phrases from that.
You know it's on Duolingo.
Yeah, I know. Conlings, man, it's a fascinating thing. Yeah, constructed languages. Check it out.